like a tree skyscraper with many windows. We stare through the windows all at once. Welcome to our new virtual home.
We look at the life that passes in front of our eyes. We look, but do we take part in living? We also forget that someone from the outside can look through the window at us in our houses. Someone from the outer dark side.
You were right, Mr. Doe. This could be interesting.
So, how do we proceed? Mr. Doe, are you there? 3 cameras, general, medium, profile, maybe close up. Through installation, editing and prepared less for video during the stream. Maybe some AI. You're interviewing me. You're writing a book, Mr. Doe. And also you're making a pilot episode of my story for your LA producers. Not bad, Mr. Doe, really, not bad. He's also probably charging you? Did he charge you money? I can't hear any of you. Can you hear me? Can anyone not? I should probably turn something on. أنا فهمت حبيبي لا تلميذ أنا فهمت I get it don't touch أنا فهمت Mr. Doe, you have your first problem. It seems I can see you all but I can't hear any of you. How will you conduct this interview?
Can I ask you questions in writing?
I can hear this computer voice. Ah, and the text. You have a quick reaction, Mr. Doe. Maybe you're a smart guy. I hope. People are often stereotyped. I dream, but they feel so are simply stupid idiots. With people like that, I get bored fast. Don't disappoint me, please. Let's start. Ask your question.
What kind of maniac are you?
Kind of maniac. It sounds like kind of cheese. I will in a recipe book. Next question.
How do you feel today?
I feel like I have to apologize to you all. The show is over. You've disappointed me, Mr. Doe. لكن التحينا حبيبي.
What about death interests you?
آسف حبيبي. أتناول وزيد من الوقت. شكرا. شكرا حبيبي. شكرا جزيلا. What about death interests me? We have a problem, Mr. Doe. You wanted to manipulate me. 2 simple questions that provoke a negative reaction from the interviewee. And after that, the real question. The principle of psychological swings. You read 2 psychology books and decide you can succeed like this. To control a beast that has existed for decades beyond a threshold of human morality. You're a cocky, narcissistic, loser reporter who graduated from some university on the coast. Your friends have already made a career in DC or in Manhattan, and you still can't into the Major League. And here it is, the meeting at the bar. You run into a friend from Student Times, now working for the FBI. After the third shot you ask, what do you do? I'm not allowed to tell, but I'll tell you, I catch dangerous criminals. Wow, I've always dreamed of writing a book about the maniac. That's an interesting thought, you can help us. You feel it is your last chance. You feel it with your whole body, either now or never. Do you think I won't guess why they let you talk to me? Do you think I am an idiot, Mr. Call me leader! كلش تمام حبيبي كلش تمام. Spare me your primitive moves, Mr. Doe, please.
He's not a student. He's a childhood friend.
Don't stop, Mr. Doe, you like it. We're close at that time.
We were 5 years old.
5 years old. The age of first steps in the dark forest, in the great world. The age when we let go of the hand, our godlike parents, and understand that we are alone.
Our families moved into a duplex in Boston at the same time. 2 houses with a common patio, a small yard. My parents used to leave us there when they were at work.
5-year-olds all day alone in the yard?
Not the whole day, apparently, for a couple of hours until one of them came home. The courtyard was enclosed like a cage. We couldn't get out.
2 kids in the prison of their own fear and loneliness, set up by those who say they love them. Your parents were ruthless to you.
I don't remember being scared. We played all the time, but I remember building a city of wood, twigs and rubbish, houses with windows, doors,
The houses
roofs.
that you built for yourself. The houses where you weren't afraid.
I never thought about it.
Shared fear and shared loneliness are the best foundation for life. Long friendships. I guess since then there has always been the shared trauma between you. Have you discussed this with your friend, Mr. Doe?
Never.
The dark corners of the past must be kept secret and hidden from all. These are our success stories. We survived then, so there is the chance that we will survive now.
Is there such a secret in your childhood?
That's the hunter's sense of smell. Stick your neck out and wait patiently for the victim to grab the bait and get trapped. You can play with me, Mr. Doe. Drop the convention, let's play. Honestly, I will answer all of your questions, and then you will answer mine honestly, sincerely. The one of us who is more honest and more sincere will win. Will 3 rounds suffice? We have an important court, our audience.
What's the bet?
You like to play games. The stakes are of course the highest. If you win, I'll give you the copyright to the book and the movie, any copyright you want. I will answer all of your questions and will write the book with you as much as you need. You are greedy and vain, Mr. Doe. I'll sell my soul to you.
What if I lose?
Maybe I'll take your life.
I win your rights and your time. I lose, you plan to kill me.
Your winnings are success and glory. If you lose, then I've never seen you, we've only texted. I don't know what you look like, who you are, where you are. Did you introduce yourself to me as Mr. Doe? Maybe your name is John. Seriously, it's a pseudonym. And then you acted reasonably. Now I'm visiting this gentleman as far away from you as possible. If Uncle Sam doesn't give them what they're asking for, I'm afraid their hospitality will sooner or later end up slitting my throat on this camera to the beautiful song Allahu Akbar. In the United States, I have about 23 life sentences waiting for me unless your website is lying. To get to someone I don't know. And in either case, I will be in a bit of a problem. A profitable bet, don't you think?
How will the audience vote?
This is a technical issue, it's not interesting. They will vote with their hands. For you, they'll use the right hand. For me, the left. Do you understand everything? Raise your right hand if you think that Mr. Dow was more sincere. Raise it up. Please, don't hesitate. Raise. Great, thank you. If you thought your humble soul was more honest and sincere, raise your left hand. Well, Mr. Dow, don't make us abort. Your last chance to succeed and become a famous author and the hero of our story.
When did you realize that you liked killing?
Bravo! I have admiration for you, Mr. Dow. You have taken this step towards yourself. You have come to the mirror and are now staring into its darkness. There, at that depth, you still able to see someone, the one you've turned your back on your whole life. Your shadow, your dark self, look into his eye, right inside the pupil. It's dark as a black hole. It is surrounded by a myriad of galaxies, hidden in the iris of the eye. It is at the center of everything, at the center of life, and at its bottom lies a power you have never seen before. That power is waiting. It will rise from the depths of the eye and will consume you. Granda. I called him Granda. He was a math professor. We lived together, me, my mom, and my granddad. He told my mom that she should definitely complete her studies as a doctor. So I was raised by him. The professor cleans the dirty type in the sink. The professor won the better battle on his chest during the walk. The professor gets up at night during my ears to remove the snout from the nostrils of a crying baby. He was a professor in everything. I had thought that he had invented and made himself such a cubes for multiplying three-digit numbers. I learned to multiply three-digit numbers before I could speak. The Fibonacci sequence was my lullaby. We took turns adding the two last number to get a thought, and did it until I fell asleep. 1 plus 2 will be 3. 2 plus 3 will be 5. 3 plus 5 will be 8. 5 plus 8 will be 13. Random. Deliberately made mistakes to make me laugh and to get me to correct him. I remember enjoying some moments of happiness with him. Or I think I do. Yes, I do. I remember the smell of the carpet. I like lying on it. I would lie on my side, pressing my cheek onto the coarse wood. It pricks my skin. There is dry smell of dust. It is mixed with a slight lasting smell of moisture coming from the basement, penetrating through the cracks in the floor. I'm looking at this morose brown part. Suddenly, she just lay down on the carpet. He was sitting on the floor, playing with me, when all of a sudden he wanted to fall asleep. Only he's breathing in the shallow with such sharp breaths, and he is immobile. His lips move, but without sound. He wants to tell me something, but he can't. his eyes call me. I'm lying on the carpet, right in front of his face, so close. I can only see his eyes. There is fear in them. They tell me, call someone. Call your mother, please. I understand that, but I don't move. I'm God. On the darkness that rising from the depths of his dark pupils. This darkness is so beautiful. I've never seen anything more delightful. I know there is something terrible going on. The Brenda can't handle it, that we have to call Mom. But I don't know. Darkness feels Brenda's eyes. Darkness enters my world. I don't yet know that her name is death, but I know it'll stay with me from that moment. At some point, it hit me that it was over. It wasn't Brenda anymore, it was someone else. Alien! I ran to my mom, screaming. I shouted, Brenda! Brenda! After that, my mom came running and screamed and cried. Then there were many people at our place. There were people who smelled of medicine. There were neighbors, relatives. Then people in black suits who came into Brenda. They come to my mom, patted me on the head. They kept saying the word stroke. I remember that. Then everyone left, and we were alone again, just me and my mom. It was quiet. It was silent during the evening. My mom sat and was staring right in front of her. And then she looked at me. 15 seconds. I call this look the 15 seconds. My mother's eyes froze and the question arose inside. I told that my mom was the doctor. Let her alone. The strokes do not kill immediately. That there is half an hour to save a person if you have the time. But at that moment, my mom was staring at me. What happened in the room? Why didn't you call out for help? Why didn't you call out for me? The air around me became dense, like the darkness that fills the starry galaxy in Granta's eyes. I approached my mother slowly. I didn't know what to do. I could only walk towards my fear. It was as if I was walking through the water on the bottom of the sea. The light was dim. The sounds became muffled. I only saw my mother's eyes. Just as my mom seemed starting to wonder what was wrong with her son. At that moment, the question put out of my mouth by itself. Did Granda fall asleep? At that moment, my mom saw in front of her a little 5-year-old who had just lost a loved one. And this is her son. He's lost and he's scared. And his mother needs to protect him. At that moment, my mom threw herself at me, hugged me, cried, started talking, kissing me, squeezing me around. And in the arms, I was thinking of how my mom didn't want the truth. She needed an excuse, the simplest explanation to help her move on with her life and not see the scary truth. That was the other side of the gift that was given day. I always celebrate this day as my birthday.
Is it a birthday?
It is my grandest Memorial Day and my true birthday. I don't care when my body fell out of my mother's womb. That day, I learned to control the beautiful power of death. I learned to let it into the world, and I learned to let it in with impunity. That day I realized that people are so afraid to look at death that they are easily fooled. The 15 seconds. You always have the 15 seconds. When people open doors for me and look me in the eye, in the first instant, I always see it. I see that they know what happens to them next. I can see the fear in their eyes. But at that moment, I open my mouth and pretend to be an internet repairman, telling them that there is repair work in their neighborhood. They see a man in a baseball cap with the ISP logo and the fold in the pen in his hand, and I ask them to sign. At this point, the fear in their eyes recedes, and I become the usual maintenance guy. They stop noticing me and let me into their home. So, their lives are now mine. Now I decide when I let the beautiful power of darkness into their eyes.
Do you blame yourself for your grandfather's death?
Are you kidding me? I was 5 years old. I was a child who just got scared. Fell into his stupor and then lied a little. Children shouldn't have to say died else.
So there was something else other than fear.
Mr. Dog, Mr. Dog, Mr. Dog. I really like you very much. I'm here to help you. But I beg you, don't go down these roads. You want to find the cause, the real source, which if corrected will make the world beautiful again, and everyone returns to heaven. Take off your rose-tinted spectacles and never wear them again. There has always been evil in this world, and it had no reason. You ask yourself, why do I kill? And all this time I've been asking myself, why do you all not kill? They were murderers, they were sadists, they were cannibals among your ancestors. Yes, Mr. Dog, we are not children of heroes, we are children of survivors. And sometimes to survive, you had to do something that you can't tell anyone about. You can't know what your ancestors had to do to make you show up in this world. Yes, Mr. You got balls, Mr. Dog. You are professional. You're focused and you get away on your walk. But your anger, your resentment, I guess you're accustomed to hiding your anger, to keep it inside. Tell us about your pain.
There was plenty.
Oh, no doubt, but still, tell me about the one incident which you still cannot forgive. The pain seated within you like a bird in a cage for all these years. This is my question.
It was in a summer scout camp.
Oh, the show, the budget, the three-finger scout salute, the small wild wolves without handles. How old were you?
11.
Oh, the age of cruelty. Don't stop, Mr. Dog, don't stop.
She was a groundkeeper's niece.
That's what I thought. I love tragedy, a sincere first feeling. Two fragile hearts that are about to leave the safe heaven of childhood. But this means you were sexy enough for the only girl around to choose you out of all the camps. She had a lot of options, didn't she? And what about her? Was she a sweet angel with blonde locks and cute eyes?
She was a redhead.
A daughter of the sun. Freckles all over her face. You were watched during the day by your supervisors. You had no spare time. So there was only the night for the two of you. You snuck out of your tent when everyone was asleep to meet her at the bench surrounded by the forest silence.
It was a log.
Okay, you feel the coolness of the night. You took off your jacket and put it on the shoulder of your beloved. As if accidentally, just to keep it warm, you left your hand on the shoulder. As if accidentally. Soon you hug. Your hands are so close. Your lips. You kiss her, Mr. Dog. How sweet. But then something went wrong. What was it?
One night she asked me to meet her at the flag stand.
Is it the point for the campfires and meetings that is always in the center of the camp? I would be wary. What happened then?
She kissed me.
And then?
She asked me to undress.
No! Did you buy? The flag stand to undress completely, let me guess. She asked you to do it first and to turn away waiting for her.
Yes.
She set you up. This is a classic. She hid the clothes and the others were behind the bushes. How many?
My whole squad. They turned on the spotlight.
They were jealous of you. Wow, what a shame, little bastards. I guess some of them had a good camera and apparently took pictures of you together at night. Then they scared her into telling her father. So she lost it and gave you up. Poor, poor Mr. Dog. What happened next?
I ran into the forest.
Naked at night. In the forest. In the dark, full of hungry mosquitoes. Did you ever come back?
I found my way to the neighboring farm, found a sack, put it on. I fell asleep in the shed in the hay. They found me the next morning. I refused to go back. I was sent home.
They should have investigated, did they? Did you tell them anything?
No.
You were afraid to do your lover a disservice, so you kept silent, right? You didn't give anyone up. Do you hate her?
No. I am grateful to her.
Really?
I felt alive then. I have never felt that way since.
You should try murdering someone. That's right, Mr. Dog. That's right. Existential stuff. Pain, fear, suffering. That's what takes us above the mundane. Well, dear friends, the time has come. Your choice. Whose story wins is the most sincere? Let me remind you. With your right hand, you show your preferences for Mr. Dog. With your left hand, you vote for me, yours truly. Do you understand? Let's start. Okay. The first story is Mr. Dog's story. Right hands. I'm counting. Raise it up. I'm counting. 1, 2. And the okay. And the next story, the story left hands, the story of Mr. Mladic. I'm counting. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm keeping score. 3-1 for Mr. Mladic. This story is written by the winners. You got to get ready, okay? let's start our second round. Ask your question, Mr. Doe.
When did
I'm
you
ready.
for the first time?
My mom worked hard, but there was still not enough money. I wanted to help. I persuaded her to get a job with the cleaning lady at my school. I walked in her place and brought her the money. There were 6 classrooms and the corridor to take care of. After everyone was gone after class, I had to pick up the chairs, sweep the floor, and collect the trash from the basket. The annoying part was the mopping of the floor, a bucket, a stick with a crossbar, and a rag. I had to deal with an all-wiping rag made from a shredded potato sack. It had become slimy due to the bleach and had almost fallen apart. The floors had to be washed with bleach and then rinsed again, so no stains remain on the wood. After that, the wiping rag had to be thoroughly washed. In the men's room in the basement, there was only cold water there. They came into the toilet while I was squeezing out the floor cloths. They were obviously drugged up. They had been distributing drugs around the school, which they had got from the adult dealers. So everyone was afraid of them, even the teachers. This high school gang called themselves the Apaches, the tribe of Indians who lived in the territory of the North American states. They came and put the floor clothes and the bucket on my head. They kicked me around, and they were dirty and smelly. They pushed me, taking turns from one to another. It amused them. Raymond, their leader, came in last. He ordered them to stop. Then he took a bucket and rack off my head and kicked the other gang members out. Raymond. He was tall, with black tie hair and slim band that covered one eye, like the kid from the second Terminator movie. Yes, John Connor. Raymond. I heard that during the holidays you had been in juvenile prison. I sat on the floor and cried. He lifted me up and washed my head and face over the sink. The water was ice cold. Then he took off his shirt. His torso was not negative, right? Yeah. There was probably something short underneath. Of course, how memory can be fun sometimes. He wiped my hair with his shirt while I was looking him straight in the eyes. They were black, same as his hair. His eyeballs were dilated and huge. His gaze was insane. He saw that I was looking him closely and froze. So now into each other. I don't remember how long it lasted. I remember he pressed on my shoulder. It was a strong push, which I could not resist, and I found myself on my knees. His pants were in front of me. They were puffed out like a small mountain. He pressed my face onto it. It seemed like underneath the fabric a dragon was moving, and it rushed towards me. Raven squeezed my cheeks with one hand. His fingers gripped like steel. I couldn't close my mouth like this, but I couldn't move anyway, as I was in a stupor. It was like a dream, like a nightmare. He unbuttoned his pants. I try to remember as much as I can. For many years I wanted to recall the details, but some parts I remember only in flashes. I remember it was deep in my throat and I choked. I remember he ordered me to stretch out my lips and cover my teeth. I remember he held my hair and pushed my hand. When he just flooded into my mouth, I vomited. He let me throw up in the sink. He zipped up and gripped my throat. My vision began to darken. I felt my heart start pounding in my ears. I didn't resist. I was ready to let him do whatever he wanted. He told me he would kill me if I spoke to anyone. He said it so calmly, as if he had mentioned copying my homework. Then he picked up his shot and left.
Did you kill him?
They hang out in the school warehouse. It was the building behind the gym, filled with all sorts of junk. Broken chairs, stone globes, blackboards. I'd stopped cleaning for several days already. Instead, I stood by the class window and watched to the entrance of the warehouse. Every night they would sit there for an hour and a half, lounging around, smoking and injecting drugs before going to their dinner spots. Each day I counted how many of them entered, who came and went. I was waiting for the moment when Raven would be left alone. It was raining that day, covering themselves with jackets. The Apaches came out of the warehouse. He wasn't with them. I counted again. It appeared that he was alone. I ran through the school trying not to be seen. I ran through the hallways, through the gym, to the back doors. I ran through the rain to the warehouse door. The raindrops were cold. They tickled inside my ears. He wasn't surprised. He was stoned, said he was waiting for me, said he knew I'd like it, knew I would come again. He came up, took my face in his hands and kissed me. His tongue licked me from the inside. It was elusive and violent inside my mouth. He pinned me down and whispered that we should do this while high. He set me down. He took out the syringe, poured something from the bottle into a tablespoon and added in the powder. He gave me a lighter and told me to light the flame. I held the lighter and he held the spoon over the fire. Light flashed outside the window. He looked at me and smiled. He tied a rubber band about my wrist and told me to clench a fist. He told me not to be afraid. He'll fix me just a little bit of stuff for the first time. very gentle. It didn't hurt. It was warm. A wave of color washed over me. Everything became covered. Everything acquired meaning. I look around. A broken chairs, a punched globe, a worn-out blackboard. I saw their past. I read their thoughts. I saw the moments of their hating and saw the tragedy of their withering. They came alive to me and now froze in the darkness to tell me their stories. He kissed me there. It was like a flash of lightning. Something leaked out of me and I was twisted and convoluted as if I had been electrocuted. Then he touched himself. I joined him. He then stretched out and relaxed. He lay with his eyes closed and I wiped his sperm with a handkerchief. I said that my mom was a doctor and often took me with her on calls when there was no one to leave me with. He smiled. I put out the bottle of alcohol, disinfected the syringe. I poured alcohol into the solution in a spoon and heated up the spoon. He tightened the band. I filled the syringe. He held out his hand to me. My mom was a doctor, was an anesthetist. She needed money, and sometimes she traveled to private surgeries as a veterinarian. She had a lot of medical dictionaries. It taught me that human bodies are built just like animal bodies. We have the same diseases, the same medicines, only they are not so controlled. Chloride oxide, a tranquilizer, is used for horses, calculated per kilogram of body weight. It was stored in my mother's camping refrigerator. He didn't notice that I had added this horse tranquilizer into the spoon. He looked at me and smiled. And I inserted the needle. He looked at me and smiled. And I loosened the band. He leaned back and continued to smile. His saliva ran down the edge of his lip. It was written in my mother's medical dictionaries that the combination of anxiolytics with opiates leads to the paralysis of the lung muscles in the respiratory tract. I wiped everything I touched. I knew how to clean properly. Then I carefully returned and cleaned my floor as usual. I washed my hands and calmly went home. The rain stopped. I never cried again.
His death was not investigated.
It was considered irregular overdose. His skull arm was covered in needle marks from all the injections.
Were you interrogated?
The school got rid of the trouble. Nobody wanted to ask questions. Without their leaders, the Apache slowly fell apart. Nobody wanted. They didn't go to prison. They didn't die from an overdose. If you want to be successful, Mr. Doe, choose steps that will make everyone happy. It was a win-win murder.
Maybe it was a crime of passion. Maybe Raven was asking for death. Don't you think so?
It's time for your answers, Mr. Doe. Are you ready?
Ask your question.
We are very much alike, you and me. You're ambitious, you have character. I assumed you weren't professionally successful. What if I was wrong? You had real success and good lucky. But your anger, I can feel it. Perhaps you've been betrayed? You keep quiet, so I'm right. Did you do some investigative reporting that was never published? Was it banned? Was your boss scared? Or were there pre-trial decisions that imposed the gag order? They cut off your oxygen, am I right?
Pulitzer for my investigation.
Pulitzer, is this the Oscar for journalists?
I was 27. I just got out of college. I was an intern and I was so lucky.
This is my question. Tell us about this investigation. The time has come. Let's take out your files from the folder.
I could never do anything like that again.
Let's start. Oh, let's start. I'm listening.
I was curious. I drew attention to the statistics of the Office of the War Crimes Prosecutor of the UN peacekeeping contingent during the dissolution of Yugoslavia. Then there was a war between Bosnia and Croatia. Then there was war in Kosovo, the bombing of Belgrade. NATO troops were able to stop the massacre. I noticed that the figures for murders, desertions and arms trafficking were comparable to those of other UN missions. But there were very few rape charges that went to trial compared to other missions. But girls in the Balkans are beautiful. The collapse of the Soviet Empire, the Cold War just ended. I figured someone among the UN top managers decided to turn a blind eye to this. Maybe even someone higher ranked than that. I managed to get into one of the forums of Yugoslav war veterans. I created a legend, made a couple of recommendations and was let in. I waited until the topic of love and girls was raised in the chat. I began to provoke, hinted that I had problems with love since from the past. I felt that many others were in on it, but everyone was silent. Some were joking. Some advised me not to get involved. But only one got back to me. Former Marine Sergeant, call sign, Rhino, upon his return from the mission, resigned immediately. Failed. He started drinking, got addicted to painkillers, attempted suicide. He had been treated in a private psychiatric ward for several years. Was lonely. He wanted to talk. He was even glad that I was a journalist. Rhino showed me a secret folder on his computer. There was a huge number of rape-related war crimes. He had collected them because he wanted to correct his past. We started digging deeper into it. We asked directly for the archives in Belgrade. I was given access to the materials of the Hague investigation, which were never released publicly. We planned to go public with this material together, me and him under a pseudonym. My bosses said these were the rules of the game. If they won, the whole team would win. When they were young, they also had to give their material to their superiors for the benefit of the team. That they wouldn't forget my loyalty. That I too would soon become a general. Rhino hung himself on the cord of a vacuum cleaner from the home block of his clinic. A courier later knocked on my door. He gave me a little fridge that had saliva vials in it, hair samples and semen. All possible DNA options for forensics. And the letter. It was a confession. She helped doctors on the mission of the peacekeepers. She was a Serbian student, a medical trainee. She had no official status. There were 3 of them in the patrol that night, brothers in arms, ready to cover each other in any battle. Back in the Balkans, it was easy to get all sorts of stuff. So none of them saw anything scary about having a little smoke. Or even not a little. They saw her at the stop at the exit from the base. Her bus hadn't arrived or something. A big white jeep with the trustworthy inscription, UN, with soldiers who came to keep the peace. She never filed a complaint against them. He's not even sure he remembers her name. Helena or Elaine. But he remembered her last name.
Her name was Elena Mladic.
They showed me your mother's diaries. Adding 2 + 2 was easy. This is new evidence for the investigation. This is a new era of ethics. I can sue my former superiors. I will sue them and my name will be redeemed. It's a sure bestseller. It would be great, but we only have 1 piece of biomaterial out of the 3. There were 3 of them in the jeep. We only have Rhino's material.
You need my DNA.
That would be great, but, again, I wouldn't bet on it. Chances aren't too high.
I'll give you my DNA. I'll bring it to you personally.
It sounds great, but it's a long way off. If you'd agree to the book, you and I could make.
I'll bring it to you. You get it done. A bonus. You deserve it. You have to complete your mission.
Yes, thank you. We will write it together, you and me.
You will get this reward, just you.
No, it's not necessary.
It will be post-mortem. It will be an epic comeback. All major editions will mention it. The journalist won the trial against his employers, who stole the Pulitzer Prize from him. Decades later, he finds the murderer, the son of the hero of his first investigation.
Why is it a post-mortem?
The scenes of the father spawned the monster. Skeletons in the clothing produced a bloody murderer, a serial killer. The murderer is the prodigal son of a peacekeeper, the punishing sword for the blessed peacemakers.
Why is it a post-mortem?
You have a month, Mr. Dog. Because I'll have to wait at least a week for them to stop looking for me. Then it will take me a week or 2 to make and deliver new documents from the darknet. Another week until I get to Seattle. I'll give you exactly 1 month, right, Mr. Dog? Like you've never written in your life.
What makes you think I'm in Seattle?
You're in Seattle. And you will try to escape. But you will leave a digital footprint. People always leave a digital footprint. I can see your IP, which means I know what your device automatically entered when you log in. You will not be able to erase your history from the cache service. The darknet makes wonders. I'll soon find out what our lovely Mr. Doe's real name is. I'll be sure to find out. Google remembers everything. Meta remembers everything. AI remembers everything. Your smartphone, your mail, your social media will turn you in. They always do.
I didn't mean to hurt you, David. You misunderstood.
Do you want them to vote? Do you want to tell us another fell story? Come on! We'll raise our hands for you. Take away a part of our lives. What more do you want from me? You want my DNA. You want my story. You don't want me. You don't see me.
That's not true. I see you. I care about you.
Did I tell you how I choose those in whose eyes I work in darkness? They tell me. They ask me. I come into their homes, connect to their devices, control their lives. That I do not. Wait. I just watch and listen. It's such a pleasure to see a man so close, to look at him from behind the screen. The moment we look at our smartphones, we are so beautiful. We are authentic. We do not wear masks. We do not pretend to be someone else. At that moment, I fell in love with each of these people. Their eyes shine with the light of distant stars that give us the miracle of life. But the eyes of some of them are dim. They lifelessly stare into their screens. They move their fingers across the screen, but their eyes are frozen. I can only see the pain in their pupil. They continue to lie, but only feel boredom, loneliness, resentment, emptiness. The darkness fills the starry galaxy. In their eyes, they are already dead. I just only to liberate this darkness. Their eyes are asking me to.
How can I correct my mistake?
Your life? You have a month? I'm only your counselor in the terminal stage. Live your last month with no regrets.
But this is ridiculous. You're threatening me from a cell halfway around the world, and I should agree to that. I didn't mean to.
You wanted to screw me! You're a pathetic amputated-defying monster! You dare to lie to a man who has looked death in the eye for his whole life! You thought you would get away with your life? Weren't you told that every word leads to consequences? Weren't you told that you were responsible for your words? The show is over. Ilkar, IP 1255, 0. Thoughts of Israel. I'll come to you. Julia, 112288810. Oh, Russia. Not be afraid. Death is given to us only to be feared. You are here only for fear of it. Here and fear and live your life as if each day is your last day. Savor your life. Only the glass of the screen, like the water in the river of time, is transparent. The light passes through it. Only the dark side of the glass creates a mirror. Only the dark bottom of the river of time allows you to see your reflection. Stare into darkness and live your life. Each day can be your last day. I'm on my way to you.